Welcome to Modern Goddess. Here we discuss everything mastering your mindset, wellness wisdom, upgrading your relationships so that you can unleash your divine goddess essence and live your authentic best self every single day. I'm your host, Cassie Aurora. Well, hello everybody. I haven't done a solo podcast in quite a while. Guys, you know I'm a projector in human design, and I'm going to be as real as I can with you. My energy has been battered since January. There's just been life happening, and I'm one of these people. I don't really use spirituality. Well, I do in some ways as a comfort. I really use it as a tool to find truth, and I'm constantly using astrology and observing the cycles and observing my life to really make sense of where my soul needs to evolve. And it's been really objectively pretty shit, I'll be honest. I'm really counting my blessings. I'm so grateful, but my life has literally been, I'm going to be honest, falling apart in many ways, but not as bad as my general my past life trajectory. But I am coming to the end of my K2 Mahadasha, which in astrology is a period, and they often refer to it as the 7 gates of hell, and you really go through it for 7 years, and it just, thank God I'm not going to go through it again in this life. That's all I'm going to say. And it's, the first 28 years of my life, 29 years, where am I, 29, it's written in the stars that they were going to be pretty shoddy, and you know what? It's made me a really resilient being. But the last few months have really tested me in many ways. But there's also been huge opportunities and openings. But for me in my astrology, Jupiter comes, and if you're a night birth like me, Jupiter is not as benefic as day. And actually Venus is a greater benefic in terms of abundance and opportunity. But for me, my Venus is conjunct Saturn, so all the benefic aspects of Venus are pretty much swallowed and pooed on by Saturn, so it takes a while for me to come into it. And so it has been a really challenging time. I've been going through my Saturn return alongside the Pluto conjunction, and if you ever saw my astrology, you would just laugh because it's just hilarious. So anyway, enough about me, but that's why basically my energy is limited right now, is what I'm saying, and I'm navigating some really deep shifts and old wounds that are coming to the surface for me to really address. They're related specifically to abundance, but these things needed to happen because I've needed to take a pivot in my business. That's been really key and integral in order for me to actually serve you all the best. So I'm in the park and there's this beautiful lady and full on, she's obviously just got married. She looks gorgeous in her Indian red sari. Wow, it's beautiful. What a goddess. But today's International Women's Day anyway, and I'm honouring all you women. I'm doing a speech tonight. I'm really excited about that. We're going to talk about authentic sexuality in Birmingham in the city centre. I'm really excited for that. But yeah, back to what I was saying. There's been a pivot in business, and this has been important because it's finding out about my human design alongside my astrology has been really helpful, and I'm actually bringing human design a lot into my client work now. Even how I'm coaching my clients, how I'm presenting them with information, how I'm getting them from A to B because as a coach, I like to give people their own tools, to healing. I don't want them to be dependent on me. And human design has really led me to see, alongside my astrology, where is it I'm meant to serve, but actually how. And I have to wait for invitations to do stuff. So you all know I'm super passionate about eating disorders. I'm very, very, very passionate about the goddess work I do. But I've realised that all my invitations, so where people ask me things and where my work gets called, is for tarot and astrology. Sorry, this kid's playing hide and seek. It's super cute. It's for tarot and astrology and Reiki, and they're my invitations constantly. And to me, you know, I love them. I love them so much. I'm really in the last 2 years, probably year, have come into a completely different level of, I want to use the word power, but I don't mean that in the egotistical way. I just mean my capacity to hold space for people in a different way and really shift their energy through Reiki has really been upgraded. It's quite astounding even for me, but I think it's just because in the most loving way I'm less invested, and so I think when we get out of the way as healers, we really start to get some amazing results because we become more of a vessel, and we, you know, so anyway, all my invitations have been for that. And it's weird because I stopped doing tarot videos because like this just doesn't resonate, and I don't like videos, you know. I love my podcast, but I can't do this YouTube video thing. Bless my boyfriend keeps saying, he's like, you need to do that, and I'm like, it's not my thing. So I just don't want to do it. And like Christina, my amazing business mentor, is like, no, if it doesn't suit, don't do it, because she gets that my energy is limited. And so the Modern Goddess course, I took it down. So if you're listening to this and people have been actually going onto that link and I've taken it down and somehow they're still finding it, it's not going to happen because right now, well, for now it's not going to happen because I realised there's no invitation there. No one's asking me for that information, even though that's my journey with eating disorders and femininity and learning to heal myself through actually mindset. Actually, my invitations are all spiritual things. And then when I do my astrology, Reiki, tarot, I bring those very scientific mindset, evolutionary kind of growth-minded concepts. It's the lens I view through. But no one's asking me for a Modern Goddess course. So I'm basically doing the opposite to my projector energy. I'm not waiting for the invitation, and I've put this course out into the world. Yes, people ask me. I'm not saying no one has. But people generally go, generally the message I get regarding that is, I struggled with an eating disorder too, I'm still struggling, I feel like really out of control, you know, etc. And like, that's really painful to hear, and I'm always there to give advice, but then there's no further invitation from then. Even when I share like the Modern Goddess stuff, there's a general dulling, the energy sort of gets stuck. But when I offer, you know, a share, I say, well, you know, we'll just talk about it, and I'm like, you know, I'm always here, these are my services, and you know, but there's free content, and just tune into the podcast and enjoy. It's so much more organic, because the thing is, you know, I'm not going to be here and say I don't need to make a living. Like, guys, I got to make a living. So if I don't get bookings, eventually I'm going to have to get a normal job. That's just, you know, how it is, and I'm okay with that. But if I go after work that's not in alignment and I don't keep the space open, the Modern Goddess course, for some reason, it just nosedived, and I was like, this is just, for some reason I'm trying to force something that's not supposed to happen. And this is a big lesson, you know, in business. It's like, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. So I'm one of these people, I've constantly been a shapeshifter. It's very projector kind of my second house, third house stellium. I can literally do anything I put my hand to. Well, not anything, like I'm really bad at like violin, for example, but you know, as a kid I would just pick up music, do it, like skill, do it. It's like I could convince anyone of anything. But the problem with that is, because we're projectors, we're so conditioned, we become really good at lots of things. And up to this point, like, you know, my partner, when he started dating me, was like, is there anything you don't do? And then I looked at my week and I was like, well, I teach kids on a Wednesday, I teach children singing on a Sunday, then I teach corporate yoga, then I go down south and teach a corporate wellness class, then I do astrology, then I do some Reiki, and then like I'm you know, I'm personal training this day, and it's like, oh, and then I'm singing a gig and then I'm in a musical for those 2 weeks playing a lead. It's like, ooh, look at me with all my skills, but actually my energy, look, already saying that, can you feel the energy? It's so scattered. And that'd be fine if someone's like a manifestor or a manifesting generator. So my partner can do that. I cannot do that. And this is why I think I've ground to a halt. And so I've started to feel through my life in the last 4 weeks with my projector energy, and just feel, because my inner authority is splenic, and just feel intuitively, and I have a really fine body system that's tuned in. And I think this is true for anyone that struggled with chronic PTSD, extensive dieting, they've had any trauma in their life, they've just been through a hardship, and they get further and further down their spiritual path. There comes a point where your body gives you very simple yes and no's. Wherever it comes from, I think you can always start to tune in. And in my life, I've really had to learn in the last month, even when an invitation comes, like my partner can ask something, and it's like a really good idea, he's like, can you do this family yoga for me at this thing? And my body goes, no. I can't argue with it. It's like I have no logical reason, but it's a no. I'm sorry. And it happens over and over again. And when I really, really, really sat there and I said, I love this goddess work I do, I love the course I've created, there was something still not gelling with it, and my body was just like, no. And I was manifesting around it, and like, I want to help these women in this way. It was like, this is just not what I should do. Just because I can doesn't mean I should. Just because I'm like a mad, crazy ass witch, and I do, I love my period. I do weird things in my period blood. Well, you say weird, but like, they're not weird. It's just, the stuff that I don't share on the podcast, I maybe should share even more of it. It's really out there, and it's not me going, look how spiritual I am. It's just like, I don't share it because it's my sacred practice, and it's really special to me, and I don't think it's for me to share yet, at least. So that's where I am. And even though I'm passionate about eating disorders, I genuinely don't believe that's my path, because I just believe that eating disorders, exercise obsession, OCD, chronic PTSD, they're all symptomatic. They're labels of just a deep incongruence where we're yearning to return home. And I don't mean that to dismiss anyone's experience, not even mine. I just think we can label everything, but really we're lost, and we've got layers of stuff, and we're going to behaviours of pain relief instead of behaviours towards healing, and that's okay, because it's part of the journey to find healing. But essentially what I'm saying is, I generally don't think that's what I'm supposed to be offering. So I mean this with love, but it's coming down, and it's had to. So there's the update for you on that, and a bit about me. Even my therapist on the end of there, Jesus, So what else? So I'm focusing basically solely on astrology, and I think if you're a projector, we have limited energy. We're not here to work, so thank God that when I found out I'm not here to work, I was like, oh great, I'm not just lazy, because I'm genuinely not a lazy person, but just getting up and doing a 9 to 5, it makes me ill within days. Like, I can feel my cells want to scream and die when I think about it. So that tells me, when I think about an astrology reading, I'm like, yeah, chill, let's go. So that tells me a lot. When I think about Reiki, or when I'm in that space with my Reiki client, it's lovely. We're just there, we're chilling, we're going. If I think about just sitting and chatting deep emotional stuff with people and podcasting, I could do that for hours. Because when projector finds the part of their energy that they can go with, they can go with it. And I can get really hyper focused talking about astrology, creating astrology content. I love blogging. I can get hyper focused on that stuff. And that's where I need to be, because my energy is so limited, guys. And at the end of the day, this is important, that I bring something to you that is fully my heart and soul, and that will benefit you, because it's all of my energy moving into your energy and bringing you something. And when I do astrology, it's just like I plug in and it happens, I'm not saying I'm the world's best astrologer, like far from it, because astrology is so vast, but we all interpret and bring something different, you know, and I think we genuinely attract the clients that we're supposed to help. So my pivot was to really go towards astrology, tarot, Reiki, boom. Because honestly, guys, this is what I'm good at. I'm good at other things, but for some reason, right now, where my energy is, it needs to be invested in astrology. And I am training a little bit more in kind of like a psychotherapy type qualification, but astrology really is my root. It's how I understand the world. It's the archetypes, the same as a Jungian analyst. We use those archetypes, the same as like a wild woman, kind of shamanic healer will use other shamanic archetypes, and I draw it all in. You know, I just think there's something we can, everyone can take, you know, something from astrology, and it really depends on the reader, but we're opening up that portal. It's a really spiritual thing. It is a spiritual meditative yoga. You know, when we're doing astrology, we're connecting with truth and archetype, and it's really quite a profound experience, and people definitely know something's happening. So you'll see on my website, I've really just got lots of information on astrology. There's loads free, there's like loads of free stuff, so still go on there and just engage in the freebies, like it's free. And that's what Mercury retrograde has been about for me. You know, revisiting what is it I'm supposed to bring out into the world creatively, and I'm still not exactly sure. It's also brought loads of other horrible things, but they're more personal. And yeah, like it's been a whirlwind, and I'm just enjoying the journey and everything it's bringing up for me, because it's connecting me more and more to my purpose, and day by day I'm grateful for that. So yeah, on my website you'll see there's a page all about astrology, and really astrology, guys, it changed my life, I'm not gonna lie, and you know I'm big on it, but it really did. And I just feel like astrology, when we feel lost, and when we're just fed up of questioning ourselves and like, why do I feel lost, where there's something missing, astrology really provides those answers. It's like a shortcut to your soul. It's like we're plugging you into the mains and going, here you go, boom. And it's so confirming. So it's really confirming for if you're unsure whether you're on the right path and you're like, I think it's this. It's really confirming, but it also puts all of your experiences up to now into context. It gives you an energetic kind of preparation. Okay, this is what's going to come up, and these are actual practical steps you can take, because I'm not going to sit there and lie about transits that are coming up that, you know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to make it really real, but I'm not going to try and put the fear of God in you either and make it out worse than it be, because often these things aren't. So I'm really good at providing, you know, because, you know, I do a lot of like mediumship work, and my Reiki, I'm very like clairsentient, claircognizant. I smell. I always smell like spiritual smells, quite funny. And just well, you would say clairvoyant, but I don't really see. I only see when I do Reiki. And when I'm doing astrology, very much I'm in that space, but I've got the science there to back it up as well. And usually it's accurate, you know. But if this resonates and you're like, look, I'm thinking of booking astrology, I was thinking for a while, just invest, because I promise you, like, you will not be disappointed. 100%. Like, it's so confirming. And I do recommend the in-depth astrology reading, just because in that reading, like, I can get right to the core. I talk for 45 minutes. It's just all your energy. We're putting things into context. We'll go into the area you want to go into, because you tell me. And I really dig deep there, and we look at the blockages. How can you change this? You know, it's, you know, love or fertility. I have that a lot. I have a lot of career things and just generally direction. And the second one I would recommend is the karmic reading. So if you're thinking, yeah, I want astrology, but maybe you don't want to go for the in-depth reading just yet, like, that totally makes sense. So I feel you. Like, I was like, what? Why is it so much for an astrology reading? Actually, it's super cheap. Like, now I have no qualms paying like $300 for a reading, because it's seriously priceless. But if you're thinking, oh, I'm really not sure if this resonates, but you feel the tingling thing in your soul, then go for the karmic one, because it's slightly shorter, but it's still really to the point. And when you book the in-depth reading, we touch on the karmic stuff, so don't feel like you're going to miss out. So I personally recommend the in-depth one, because, you know, for like a little bit more money, you're going to get like a lot more information, and it's recorded, so you've always got it. And it's practical steps, so it's not just some woo-woo, oh, this is what we're going to plug into, I'm going to tell you what you already know, and then you're like, yeah, and so I already know it. Like, you know, when you go to a psychic sometimes and they tell you things you already know, or mediums, which is great and a bit like something you knew was already happening, it doesn't help me. I'm like, okay, so now I just feel like fate's in control. With astrology, I'm like, yes, we have free will. And this is really what I want to talk about, you know, more with astrology, is we have free will. And I think I try and always make that out, but maybe I don't enough. And I just want, you know, there are fated things for sure. Like your Saturn return is going to come. It is going to be difficult, usually, depending, and it's usually going to have a fated tone. And it was definitely fated that I met my partner now. But I wouldn't have if I had not taken the steps that the horrible eclipse year had brought to me, and it would have been a horrible, different kind of fated occurrence probably. But it was inevitable that we would have met had I taken those steps. And, you know, we can look more at this as a bigger conversation. So I don't want to go too much into that, but it's very interesting. I mean, turn around because I'm like literally stepping through a bog. Okay. Okay. And actually really need the loo now. And I'm far away from the toilet, so there may be you may witness me having a nature wee in this podcast. No, I promise I'll pause it. I've got On Guard, you know, in my bag, you know, beans. I'm not even going to name that virus because I'm like, no. Fear. So let's go into it, actually. The astrology of coronavirus. So if you just felt yourself go, oh shit, then I want you to notice that, because I don't watch the news. I see this shit in my news feed, and I'm so aware that this is a Mercury retrograde Pisces thing. It's a Pluto-Saturn illness. It's no different to any other illness. But, you know, the people feed the media, and the media feed the people. So we have a choice, really, this full moon. You know, and that's what I want to really highlight. And I'm going to talk about this full moon really from the angle of this corona stuff. So, you know, I'm going to be so real with you. Coronavirus came around at the time of the Pluto-Saturn conjunction. Now, Pluto-Saturn illnesses in astrology, look at the AIDS epidemic. We need to think about that. And the thing that's come out of coronavirus is lots of shadow. Pluto is the shadow, and it's the shadow self. And when the AIDS epidemic happened, remember the shadow that happened then? Like, it was so bad because we saw this kind of horrendous, I don't even know, one community, like the, I don't want to use the wrong word here, so I'm just going to say the gay community because they were labelled as the people with AIDS, whatever. But the underbelly of it was, there's that community were alienated. That was the ugly Plutonian stuff that came out of it. And it's so horrible that happened. And we've seen the same thing with coronavirus. Like this whole race all of a sudden have all got coronavirus. You know, I was with someone the other day in an airport and they were like, oh, don't go near them, might have coronavirus. I was like, that is so racist. And this person was super spiritual and they were like, no, it's not racist, it's, you know. I was like, it is. He was like, no, it's the fact that it's come from China. I'm like, A, how the fuck do you know they're from China? And then I don't even need to go to B, because B, you're being racist. Okay, so anyway, so that's the Pluto underbelly that's coming out for us to see our own shadow, whereas it was still separated. Pluto brings it out and goes, here you go, look at your shadow. So yeah, now Pluto Saturn illnesses, I will say, So the thing to remember about Pluto, Saturn illnesses and astrological illnesses is the cure is always the poison. So Saturn, the opposite of, so the Saturn antidotes are like citrus, so lemons, orange, just citrus, so lemon water, for example. Plutonian remedy is black seed oil, and you will notice a lot of naturopaths and stuff are saying strengthen your immune system. Well, yes, because Pisces is the immune system, but you'll notice they're talking a lot about black seed oil. So if you haven't got any, get yourself some, but also don't panic. So that's number one. So the next thing, the reason that coronavirus has gone viral now is because you have Mercury retrograding in Pisces. So Mercury is mass media communication and just like bullshit media and everything like that. And essentially that's what it represents. You know, it's communication. It's what we're told. It's a bit manic when it's kind of, you know, in Pisces it's not so happy. Pisces is the immune system. It's illness. It's things we cannot contain. It's the ocean. It expands. It's vast. You can't contain that Piscean energy. So there we go. We've got Mercury, mass media, in things we cannot contain. And then we're going to get a full moon in Virgo. So the moon heightens every other celestial body in the sky. And the full moon is, you know, our mental, lunatic crazy person. And then you have Virgo, which is cleanliness, order, neatness, perfectionism, criticism, worry, anxiety in its extreme. It's trying to keep clean. It's massive hygiene. It's order and structure. So making sure you have enough toilet roll. That's very Virgo. So can you see? We have the full moon in the toilet roll stashing, critical, worry, let's be clean sign. Opposite Mercury in Pisces, media, illusion, and communication. All happening, you know, right now. And so do not be surprised if, as Mercury now goes direct on the day of the full moon, there's some sort of culmination, but then things will start to clear. Like, honestly, they have to clear because we're screwed if they don't. That was a lot. I'm actually currently trying to find a good space for a nature wee, so I'm about to go off grid. Because guys, I'm not joking, it's come on quite strong, and I was like, okay, I'm closer to the nature than I am to the bathrooms in the park, but there's other people in nature and the trees don't have leaves. Alright, so in my manicness, I think that kind of cut off slightly, but you got the gist about the Pluto Saturn. In my manic need to have a nature wee, because guys, it was bad, like definitely nearly weed myself. Sorry if that's too graphic, but Scorpio ascendant, just going to be as real as I can with you. We've all been there. So I'm in nature, looking around, I accidentally pause the podcast, at which point I'm like wading through this bog, which I'm about to go back through, to try and pee. So then there's nowhere really convenient, but it looks like no one's around, so I'm like, okay, this looks quite private. I'm wearing a bright purple puffer jacket, okay, I just need to give you the visuals. So I'm like, right, it's gonna have to be here. It's happening. It's happening now. So I'm having this pee. Little do I know there's a bicycle path. I hear this little ding ding. This my bare white ass hanging out in the middle of the trees, taking a good old pee. And wow, I mean, this is my life, guys. I don't even care. Like, can you get arrested for that? Either way, I just went, sorry. And then the biker man was like, it's all right, love. I'm like, oh my God. And then, it's all right, love. Well, you gotta go. I'm like, yeah, it's easy for you guys. Just wang it out. And it just literally felt like shouting after him. It's International Women's Day. Women's Day. So there you go. My dignity spoiled. I hold no bars. We've had beautiful guests on here. You have Meg Doll, Christina Rice, spiritual bodybuilder, and then you've got me, who podcasts and has to pause it to do a pee in the woods. So You get all sorts. And if you don't like that, so I'm sorry. Go find another astrologer. Okay. I wash my hands. I mean, come on. Nature wees are so much more hygienic than peas in public toilets, but that's another conversation. So this full moon is going to bring around for us some really interesting, I want to use the word dynamics, because really it's your choice, fear or faith. And that's the big question in this full moon, you know. Pisces is its ancient ruler is Jupiter, and I want to focus on that a bit more. We do have the Sun conjunct Neptune happening. We have Venus conjunct Uranus and Taurus, and these are big shifts. I don't want to negate that, but it's just, sometimes it's just, I just want to talk about like this concept, because I think we can unpack everything in like lesser detail, can unpack one thing in more detail. And this Mercury retrograde kind of, this Pisces energy, and the moon's, you know, it's not directly opposing it, to be honest, but we have the moon opposing Neptune and Sun conjunct in Pisces. And so Pisces ruler modern is Neptune, but its ancient ruler is Jupiter. And with Jupiter, it's very much about faith and hope. That's the higher vibration. But then the lower vibration is inflation, as well as Neptune dissolving, again, this Pisces dissolving thing. And just things just not being clear and overinflated. And, you know, I'll be real, we have a choice here at this full moon. Do we go into worry and anxiety, Virgo, and into anal cleanliness? Yes, it's good to find order. So yes, good. But where Virgo is an earth sign, we have about 10 planets in earth signs for this full moon. So where can we be more in the earth and actually not go into overinflation and all this mad imagination of all the worst things that can happen, you know? And then we have this you know, fear mentality. Pisces can be fear and escapism, and you know, it's like mania again, it can't be contained. Pluto, Saturn, fear, you know, it's all going on. So where is it we can alter that? So some really good outlets for this would well, you want to try and avoid, hang on a second, you want to try and avoid like going too far, swinging too far, because remember the full moon is a Sun and Moon opposition. So Sun and Moon opposing each other is really, it's like heightened. As I said before, it's heightening all the other celestial bodies in the sky. So we need to try and think about a balancing of the energies. So the Virgo energy of wanting to get super earthy, grounded, structured, it can be overly practical. And then complacency with Pisces of like, oh yeah, dissolving, washing away, or inflating, and you know, there's all the like lower vibrations. So what would be a nice way to balance this energy? Using that Pisces energy to slow down. You know, Mercury retrograde in Pisces into Aquarius, especially at the beginning, it's about slowing down. This virus comes around, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many supplements you take or how many, you know, bloody hand sanitizers you use. If your body's knackered and your immune system's whacked because you're always burning the candle at both ends, which is very Virgo Pisces in many ways, then can you slow down? Pisces wants us to slow down and rest and restore. With the Sun conjunct Neptune, it's about the mind, and as in how can we use meditative mind calming methods. So can you meditate? Can you take more care of the immune system now? It's being brought to light. You know, Neptune is very, you know, it's the poisons, so the heavy metal toxicities. It's you know, like a lot of heavy metal from seafood, for example. So where can we really detoxify the systems of the body through, not through doing harsh detoxification protocols, and Virgo, by the way, is the intestines and health routines and really being super healthy. So where is it we can gently support the body, the Virgo, or the earth energy, to detoxify from all those heavy metals and all those poisons that we've put in our body, whether those poisons are physical through food, alcohol, drugs, etc., pharmaceuticals, or, people that are poison, jobs that are poison. And where is it that we can then bring that into a really practical, structured routine, especially when we've got Saturn and well, it's not just yet this week, so I won't go on to it, but there will be something about building those new structures. But where is it we can be really aware of that, and in our mind create those stable structures and routines that can help us support the body, rather than just feel powerless and like, oh, well, I'm going to get coronavirus and I'm going to try and buy loads of toilet roll and hand sanitizer, but I'm still going to go to work and burn myself out and worry about it and put all that negative energy into my body. I'm still going to engage in these negative relationships, and I'm going to be scared about it. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to help. And I'm probably preaching to the converted, but where can we, if we're around people who are buying into that fear, where can we lead by example and pay it no mind and say, well, yeah, it's a real thing, just as is flu, but I'm going to focus on my health and my immune system through taking probiotics. A good one like Thrive is what I use. I'm going to use On Guard. I will definitely use On Guard, doTERRA and lemon doTERRA and myrrh. Huge, powerful. On Guard, for goodness sake, it inhibits flu virus protein reproduction. It kills MRSA. Like, this shit is not just rubbish, And this is why I say it should be in everyone's medicine cabinet. It's the first line of defence. It's more powerful than antibiotics in the first instance, usually, because it catches things. And it's antiviral. It's not just woo-woo witchcraft jiggery pokery. These are medicinal herbs, and it's got citrus, which is the antidote to that. And then you've got your black seed oil. So these are all supplements you can try. Christina Rice talks a lot about colostrum. Don't have that here, but you can check out her profile. That's a really good one. Me personally, I use propolis, because propolis is just incredible. Like, I haven't been ill all winter after my health scare last year, and everyone's getting ill around me, and I'm not, thank you, touch wood. I'm also using Immunivites and On Guard capsules. All of those things you can ask me about if you want any of them. Don't just go and buy On Guard from Amazon. It's usually adulterated. Contact me if you want it, and you'll get it at a much lower price with me. They have like amazing purifying hand mist. It's literally like £5.50 wholesale. That's nothing, and it like is amazing. So, it's interesting, my phone's ringing. Let's just wait for that to stop, because I don't know how to stop it, and I don't know if this is recording, so let's see. Yes, it's recording. How fun. Okay. So yeah, then how can we rest more? Neptune, rest. R&R. How can we support our liver more? Rest. Don't go out drinking loads at the moment. Focus on those more Virgo energies. Relaxing, resting, nurturing, getting into nature. Barefoot walking will be really good for this, connecting with the earth, getting those negative ions in the body. I have a lot of placements in earth. So we just have to really choose. We've got the power of choice here, guys. Yes, it's scary and illness, but there's illness everywhere, all the time, every day, like literally. And it's mad to watch the mania. My boyfriend showed me earlier today, like these people are having this full on like literally trying to kill each other about some toilet roll in Australia. And I'm like, dude, this woman had, I'm not joking, I literally think she could have shat for the next 50,000 years, and the amount of toilet roll she had in that trolley, and she wouldn't give one to this woman who couldn't get any. I was like, are you actually ridiculous? Give the woman some toilet roll. Plus, you know what, guys? If it's that bad that you run out of toilet roll, I've never done this, but I was just thinking, okay, let's think rationally here, guys. You just find an old manky t-shirt. If the world's gone into crisis and everything's shut down and we're in survival mode, use a fucking leaf or cut up an old t-shirt. Like, this is what I'm saying, guys. We can get so lunatic-ish, and I get it, you know, it's scary, but also it's no different to anything else. It's like, how easy are you going to buy into fear? Or how easy, what are you, maybe you could just go into a problem-solving mode, you know, and that's the thing. We so quickly to jump into this unconscious programming that we've been given as a collective that's based on fear. They do anything. They say jump, we say how high, you know, as a collective, and we actually have a choice. And so I didn't even want to talk about this in the podcast because I didn't even want to pay any attention. But I feel like the astrology of it and just, you know, we've got a choice, guys. Come on. And I get it. With older people, they're vulnerable. 100% get that. You know, my mum actually passed away not from any... you would say legitimate illness. She had something that a normal healthy immune system would be able to fight, but then she got MRSA from the hospital because her immune system was terrible. She'd abused her body for years. She had a very Neptunian illness in that she had a lot of toxicity in her body, and this is why I'm very you know, I'm not anal anymore. I used to be a health mad person, but I'm conscious of it. I'm conscious that the truth of it is we're not aware of the crap they spray in our foods. We're not aware that just our normal routines that are normalized by society are probably still not that great, and we have to educate ourselves. And anyway, like, vulnerable people can die from mundane things. Of course, coronavirus is no different. It's the same as last year. I nearly died from strep throat, but you don't see that hanging around the media. Oh, strep throat's going to kill people, but literally it nearly killed me. It was horrendous. Yeah, so we just, guys, you have to treat everything with a pinch of Himalayan sea salt, you know. Oh, it's Himalayan pink salt. I don't even think there's a thing Himalayan sea salt. Oh God. If you're still listening, I don't know why you subscribe to this, but please do subscribe. Oh my God. Yeah, like, I just get a bee in my bonnet about this stuff because we don't need to fall into fear. Like, if your immune system's fine, you know, sorry, but a bloody paper mask ain't gonna save you if you've engaged in years of stuff that doesn't help your immunity, you know. So let's take something from this, and as a collective, me included, let's focus a bit more on those relaxing things, sleeping, resting more, not engaging in toxicity as best we can, embracing new health routines. Like, that's what it's about, you know. Get into nature. I'm in nature now, as you know. You've witnessed my nature week. Well, not quite, because that would have been just, you know, that's too much even for me. So yeah, but yeah, so that's my spiel. And so I just want to share with you that I have two more amazing guests I'm recording with this week for the podcast. Some of you did submit podcast topics. Of course, you are welcome to share more topics. I need to, as a projector, be invited. So also, if you think, oh, you'd be good on this podcast, I'm open to invitations. Although after this one, maybe no one's going to ask me on their podcast because I'm a 29-year-old going on 5 years old, you know. But, you know, whatever. We'll roll with it. And yeah, if you want to book in a reading, I promise you I don't take peas mid-recording. I actually take readings really quite seriously, and they are very profound and moving and very transformative, and I would be so honoured to guide you through a reading. And if you're thinking about it, you know, this is your invitation. Just go to my website, cassieaurora.com, click on Astrology, and you can find, okay, is this the right fit for you? But feel free otherwise to ask me about Reiki or intuitive tarot. Those are services I offer, and generally enjoy doing so. Generally I enjoy them. Trying to remain normal and not be pushy, because I get so passionate, because I really love Reiki. I think it's just a game changer. But yeah, so that's me, and that's all I have to share with you for now. Have some very interesting things in the pipeline, So make sure you follow, subscribe, share the episode. Don't obviously, please don't report me to the police. And I love you all. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.